Stuart Municipal Utilities Council Chambers, tentative agenda Tuesday, August 19, 2025, 5:30 PM. Call to order. Belden? Horton?
Here.
Sherman?
Here.
Crawford?
Here.
Avey here. Agenda approval.
I'll move.
Okay, how you vote? Belden? Horton? Sherman?
Yes.
Crawford? Avey, yes. Okay, 4, utility board work session discussion. It's all yours, Neil.
As I mentioned, I just have a couple minute video. Simon Sinek, it's about 15 years old, but it's still.
How to explain when things don't go as we assume? Or better, how do you explain when others are able to achieve things that seem to defy all of the assumptions? For example, why is Apple so innovative? Year after year after year after year, they're more innovative than all their competition. And yet they're just a computer company. They're just like everyone else. They have the same access to the same talent, the same agencies, the same consultants, the same media. Then why is it that they seem to have something different? Why is it that Martin Luther King led the civil rights movement? He wasn't the only man who suffered in the pre-civil rights America, and he certainly wasn't the only great orator of the day. Why him? And why is it that the Wright brothers were able to figure out controlled powered man flight when there were certainly other teams who were better qualified, better funded, and they didn't achieve powered man flight? The Wright brothers beat them to it. There's something else at play here. About 3.5 years ago, I made a discovery. And this discovery profoundly changed my view on how I thought the world worked, and even profoundly changed the way in which I operated it. As it turns out, there's a pattern. As it turns out, all the great and inspiring leaders and organizations in the world, whether it's Apple or Martin Luther King or the Wright brothers, they all think, act, and communicate the exact same way. And it's the complete opposite to everyone else. All I did was codify it. And it's probably the world's simplest idea. I call it the golden circle. Why, how, what? This little idea explains why some organizations and some leaders are able to inspire where others aren't. Let me define the terms really quickly. Every single person, every single organization on the planet knows what they do 100%. Some know how they do it, when you call it your differentiating value proposition or your proprietary process or your USP. But very, very few people or organizations know why they do what they do. And by why, I don't mean to make a profit. That's a result. It's always a result. By why, I mean what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? Why does your organization exist? Why do you get out of bed every morning? And why should anyone care? Well, as a result, the way we think, the way we act, the way we communicate is from the outside in. It's obvious. We go from the clearest thing to the fuzziest thing. But the inspired leaders, the inspired organizations, regardless of their size, regardless of their industry, all think, act, and communicate from the inside out. Let me give you an example. I use Apple because it's easy to understand and everybody gets it. If Apple were like everyone else, a marketing message from them might sound like this. We make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one? And that's how most of us communicate. That's how most marketing is done, that's how most sales is done, and that's how most of us communicate personally. We say what we do, we say how we're different or how we're better, and we expect some sort of behavior or purchase of something like that. Here's our new law firm. We have the best lawyers, the biggest clients we have, and we always perform for our clients who listen to us. Here's our new car. It has great gas mileage, it has leather seats. Buy our car. But it's uninspiring. Here's how Apple actually communicates. Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? Totally different, right? You're ready to buy a computer from me. All I did was reverse you.
A little silly, but it's also, I think, relevant to understand that model of going from the why to the how to the what, as opposed to going in the reverse order. We all know in this organization the what we're here for, what our organization does. We have probably a little less knowledge about how we do all the things, especially on the board members. I personally don't know how a lot of the things happen. And then why we're here. From the beginning of this utility, the people who started it, they had a drive, a passion for making this be something, and they knew exactly why they were creating it and what they were doing it for. Kind of the purpose of these meetings, to me, is to get us all back into that why. For each of us, why we're here, why this organization does what it does. Kind of map things out a little bit, get coordinated in our combined mission on what we're here for, so that when we get back to meetings, it's easy. When we go to make a decision, we're all pointing back to our why. And then out from there, our how and our what. So, kind of my opening statement on this. Maybe to kind of get the juices going, I did do some, I love to listen to podcasts. I love to question things on AI. I don't know if you guys do that very much. If you guys use ChatGPT or Grok or anything, but if you have a question about anything, it's nice to just have a conversation with it. And I posed a few questions on ChatGPT about, workshops in general for utility board and what things utility board might like to keep as their core mission, and the struggles and challenges that a board may have, an organization may have, and then drilling down even further, struggles and things like, particularly with a town of roughly 2,000 people or less, what might be the unique challenges. So I can dive into some of those things, or we can just have I can just pose some questions and we can kind of go around the room and talk about some things. I know we have specific agenda items on, or they're kind of general items, but specific topics. First I'd like to, what would you guys like to get out of these meetings? Do you guys find these, this whole concept unnecessary? Well, I mean, this is really our meeting to make of it what we want. So, to me, it's better boardmanship, understanding our organization, becoming more connected, and we'll be able to push objectives. So, I'll stop talking for a second.
I think one of the things you brought up is the history of our organization. I haven't, as a board member, Kim went to meet with our guys that actually know. I don't know anything about what our organization actually does, right? And I did that when I was on the council with Jim Henderson or Bob or EMS. You kind of did your little tour of duty to understand at least what you were trying to vote on. So I mean, I think I should probably take it after PTO and schedule some time. She's done. I don't know if anybody else has before you or.
Oh,
I'm just saying, if we're trying to get a better understanding of what we're doing, then to me that's the primary thing. You get somebody, some guy from out of state comes and give you a presentation and tells you that you need to spend $10 million of citizen money. And we go a month, 2 months, 3 months, you're starting back over because you don't know what I don't remember what that was talking about. Right. So if you at least had some background knowledge, that'd give a better idea.
and all I did was, I talked with Pat, what, 3 hours, 2 hours?
Probably at least 2, if not 3.
And then I called him and I said, at 1 o'clock when the guys get back, keep them there, and I'll be there shortly. So then he did, and it was what, 2.5 hours I talked to you guys? And I just asked them, they kind of told me what they did, and I asked them if they had any concerns or anything, and I mean, I listened to them, but they listened to me, and so.
So I think,
So what did you think of that? Your honest opinion, I know I'm a big mouth, I don't shut up, but.
It's hard to describe. It's really, to do it, if we say we don't do it,
Well, right.
we know what they're looking at. If, we say we go change the water meters, in a basement of somebody's house, like, sometimes you have to find the water meter. If we told you we're running electricity to a meter somewhere, like, you don't, be a part of that process would probably be more putting you guys in the way. But it would be tough to have another person standing there, But it was
talk to you guys?
Well, when I first started here, a lot of those board members had already been on the board for a long period of time. They'd been over there through open houses or Bill Gillen's retirement, say,
Yeah.
or, when they got the south side up and running, they had an open house for that. But, so that was all like 2000. Winter was probably 2005, but, no, we'd have, say, Clint Hyde, back when he was our attorney, it was common to see Clint Hyde over at the Light Planet on Thursdays at board meetings. He would stop in there, shoot, sometimes we might be running the generators, in August, back when I first started. It's educational, and I'm sure probably, I guess that if you're interested in it, we'd be interested in telling or showing, but.
Well, I know I learned from that conversation that doing the undergrounds, it's not an easy task. It takes 2 to 3 days to do, what, 1 or 2 properties? Stuff like that. I mean, it's gonna take time.
So what about a series of education agenda items during some of our meetings where it's not just education for us, but it's education for the public too, and we just hone in on, backup generators or our testing of our water or one of those items and, 5-10 minutes on that every once in a while. 'Cause we can't get it all at once, and we do have rotation of board members from time to time and employees and different things. Just an ongoing commitment to educating ourselves and educating the public on what we do.
So as part of that coming through, what we're asking Pat to put together some reporting that's already going on of, each employee to, does 80% of their time take up, a couple of tasks that they can, like you said, give an overview of, explain, and, Pat can put that in some sort of report book. Similar to what Ash does, you have a report every month.
Yeah.
And so when something comes up, we know what's going on or we don't know what's going on, we can at least have an idea of what's happened in the last month. And then like you're saying, an agenda item to cover, and here are the steps to do this, right?
Right. And this also includes the administration piece of it as well, our billing piece of it, our, management, our, how we go about our, understanding our reserves and what level of reserves we need in the funding and, grant process and all that type of stuff as part of our, maybe not all of that has to be necessarily an educational series, but we may have specific things over time that we wanna say, that let's learn a little bit more about what we're trying to do in that area. Any other thoughts?
Okay, and I have no problem with this, but we'll have to set it up with the guys, like if we have them come and talk, cause we will have to pay them to come to the meetings. So,
We'd prefer to do it during our work time,
right,
but especially if it's something that, like, doing a locate, like, explaining that it's a harder to just walk it through and explain it without, I guess I'm more of a show, this is how we do it, but you only wanna do that afterwards.
but like, you really wanna haul us around?
No.
Well, you can almost bring a locator to, to the
Yeah.
meeting or something like that, and this is what we use, this is what it does, and this is how we find things with it. And this is why we do it.
Well, I think that's a good idea what Kim did, that I probably should set up a time when I can do it on a day off, that come down, set up a time with you guys, that get a little bit of education on what's going on. Yep. I haven't done it since I've been out here.
Oh, I didn't either.
I just need to do it.
And when I was sitting there writing that note after that one joint meeting, my mind went really crazy after that joint meeting, and I'm just thinking of all this stuff, and it's just like, okay, guys, you're gonna put up with me. You know, I didn't give them no warning, no nothing, I just went down and,
In the time I've been here, which is a little over 10 years, you're the only board member we ever had really that come in just to ask questions. And that is appreciated. Because how else are you gonna know?
well, like I said that the other night, that letter I read, I had no clue what you guys did until I went and sat and talked to you. No clue.
So I can think of like probably 50 different topics of things to talk about, but I don't want to. I kind of want to hone in on what would you like to focus specifically on this meeting for? Maybe we can drill down into specific topics, and we've got some here. And I know that you had some of the employee stuff that you wanted to talk about as well. I just wanted to kind of get a framework for some of these meetings on what we might be doing, what we might be talking about, betterment of the board. Maybe first let's just get into, you know, the why, our mission. And we don't have to come up with our own mission statement and put it on a placard and put it on the wall. You know, sometimes people do that, but to me, the why of what we do is because we are customers as well. We come in here as, you know, basically volunteers to be representatives of our, you know, of our other customers that are out there, and to make sure that the operation is running smoothly, that we're adding value, and I don't want to list them all out because of, I could go to my little AI friend and list some of the things that were already said in that, and maybe I'll just do that just real quick. I will not take very long with this, just on one quick item. Just so you can get a flavor of it.
Just,
Efficient.
Position is good.
yeah, I know, but how do you even do it? Stupid with this.
Just ask a question.
So, okay, here's an education, okay? OpenAI.com, it's ChatGPT. Just go on there, you can log in, you don't even have to log in, you can just go on there and mess around and play with it. I put in a prompt for a small public utility, water and electric. What should the mission of the board be, and what should members strive to know, learn, and plan for? So we got a little, they should reflect on stewardship, sustainability, and community service while staying practical about financial, regulatory, and operational realities. Here's the structured way to frame it, and it's very nice how these AI puts it out into a nice structure for you. You know, reliability, affordability, stewardship, sustainability, accountability. What we should strive to know, utility operations basics. List things along with each of these bullet points, but financial literacy, regulatory and legal environment, community needs and demographics. What should we strive to learn? Infrastructure, asset management, risk and resilience, technology trends, workforce issues, customer engagement. And all this was like, I put in one prompt, one little sentence, and it gives me all this. So I followed it up with, what about other areas of operations administration? It gave me a bunch of other things related to customer service and billing, human resources, technology innovation. I followed it up with, for small towns, what are the unique challenges, financial constraints, aging infrastructure, again with lots of bullet points on each one of these, workforce and expertise shortages, operational vulnerability, technology and cybersecurity gaps, community and political dynamics, regulatory and administrative burden, future pressures. So all of these things we've touched on at different points in time and different agenda items that have come through. We've all hit some of these things, but it's like, well, what ones of those should we dive into deeper from educational perspective of ourselves, or getting kind of a policy perspective of how we wanna approach different things, so that when an idea for a site plan comes up, it's already within the realm of what we've already talked about in some of these meetings. You know, does that align with our customer focus? Does that align with our financial goals? Is that, all the things that, we were just stating. And we could lay that all out, and I could do some work on that and put bullet points together and give that to all you guys and say, well, what do you guys think of this? And you guys just check it off, yeah, I agree with that, but I'm hoping more of for a dialogue on each and every one of these types of things, not necessarily all today, but they're all topics that we could dive into deeper in these types of workshops. Whether it be, how we work with Chip, with our financial advising, how we want our meeting structured. Is there anything about, sometimes, I've done this for a long time, sometimes we just come in and do the meetings because that's always how we've done the meetings. One thing I was thinking about, Ash did a great job of putting together some of his reports for us, but a lot of times at the end of the meeting, we just kind of thumb through the reports and, I'm not saying don't do this, I'm just saying, what do we get out of that?
I think you're right, I don't think you need to do that.
That's kind of,
I don't think you need to do that unless it's a
Well,
requirement for regulatory, it's
explain
my
why
own
we
opinion.
do that.
And that's fine.
Because you're a board of trustee.
Sure,
If I don't give you this information, the only one knows about it is Sarah, Ashley, and I.
okay, and
And that's not enough. You need, as a board of trustee, to know all this information month by month. So you're sharing that confidential information with me as a board of trustees.
so is that an audit requirement or audit trail?
Long time ago, yes. Now we need to have,
Okay.
because really, if I don't give you this information, just Sarah and I and Ashley knows about it.
But just saying it's going well, so, I mean,
Going
that's,
very well, actually,
that's what I mean, so my point is
yes.
if we're covering something, we're not familiar with some of the things Pat and his group do, then is it
I
better to
will
have a
get to
report?
that, but this just be on that information that I gave you.
Mhm.
I gave you financial information to keep you updated
Sure.
month by month. And I gave you the delinquent account, big delinquent, all these things, this is confidential.
Mhm.
But board of trustees, that's what we call them, board of
Right.
trustees. You have to share that with me on a monthly basis. If something happened to me or to Sarah, you know where we're at. And you don't have to take action, but at least you know.
Sure, no, I get it.
So that's kind of where,
So my question is really more, is there something else within the presentation that we could say, if we had it presented to us this way, or with additional piece of information, or,
I send you the
month
file.
by month, or some other type of information that would be, well, this adds value to us and makes it more, it's explained better to us if it was presented in this manner. Not, because I'm not saying there's nothing valuable, I'm saying, is there as we move along, don't just do the things that we've always done because we've always done it. Are there things that we can tweak along the way and say, hey, this might actually be, we might be better served if we had information provided us too. Just like, some of the things that we've recently requested of Pat, could we have a report that says this, or this given to us and help us understand how the operation is going, as opposed to, maybe some of us have questions on stuff.
And that's very much why we're here tonight, is tell us what you need, what your expectation is, and I'm always up for these things.
I don't think we know what our
Because-
expectation is, I mean, I don't, that's what
Which
I'm
is
getting
fine,
at.
actually, I can
You know,
help you with that.
I'm not
I
trying
can
to,
help you with that, if you want my help.
we're trying to set it and figure that out.
I guess this is what that meeting for, I think what Neil meant with that meeting is to get this question out, and I will be able to help you with that, because these reports that I gave you, I've been giving that to the board members for the last 31 years.
Sure.
And it's came from that drive, need of what can we do to satisfy not just us, auditors, public, all that stuff, because it's very hard for the public to know that Sarah and I, only people knows about delinquent account. Or who we give a break, who we don't, who we give discount or not, who we shut off or not. why don't the board of trustees share them?
Yeah,
So
that's-
we developed them.
Right.
See what I mean?
Yep.
We developed that financial statement to satisfy audit and satisfy you, so you know month by month where you at. See what I mean? If you need more than that, that's why we have that work session.
I think
Tell me
what we're
about
saying,
more.
and what I was getting at is I need less because I don't have a concern or a gap there from where I feel,
Yeah.
useful at, right? So like on the financial side, I think things are going very well.
Yes,
Our reserves are strong. It's more on the operations side that I don't have enough information on. So what Kim said in the beginning, okay, if it's highly technical to remove some poles, and that's a goal, but we gotta set goals, right? We may not even wanna do that. I don't know, right, as a board. So
That's-
setting goals, and then, you know, you wanna take 3 blocks down in a month. I don't know, make up a number, make up a goal, right? So you wanna remove all the poles in 3 blocks. That sounds really good, and then every month you do you do 3 blocks. I don't know, make it up. But is that measurable, and can you actually do it? Do we have, the bandwidth to do it? Do we have the equipment to do it? No. It may be the answer, yes, I don't know. So that's where I
So,
don't have that understanding. I'm fine with the financial side, that's why I said.
And what are all the competing priorities?
That's what I'm getting at. Do they
Like,
have a
it may be
bandwidth?
something valuable we wanna do, but unless
Yeah.
we've got the broad range of competing priorities over a 5 to 10 year period, it's like,
good.
where
I'm
where
gonna-
do we slot it in? Like, where does it make sense to
I'm
do
gonna
that?
help out with that here. My job was, utility for the last 31 years was finance
Mhm.
and secretary of the utility, was like clerk job and treasurer. And that's really why I give you that kind of, that's where I do. Then I discussed that with you, what's your expectation, because you need to know what I do for the utility. Completely different than what I do for the city. See what I mean? And if you need me to explain more, ask me, because there's big difference between administrator and treasurer and clerk.
Yeah, so
Yeah, so that's kind of where I do here. So the report came to you, came from that perspective, treasurer and clerk. Now you want more on the operation side, great. We will, that report you will get every month, we will give you addition to get the operation. My advice, as we started it, is it would be nice to do what Kim did, take a few
Yeah, sure,
hours with
absolutely.
the guys,
Yep.
get to know what they do, because we can give you every month a report, will be self-explanatory
Mhm.
to lead you to do what Neil wants to do. Or why don't, because, for example, Dustin can come and hit certain point he does, locate, digging, or, you see what I mean? Well, when you see it in the monthly report, you'll be able to discuss that with me,
Exactly.
with Beth,
Yep.
with them.
Right, totally.
And this is what I can help with, and the guys are willing to do that,
Yeah,
Pat and the crew.
and I wanna make sure that the point's clear, this is not to, at any level, micromanage
No.
or get into the
No.
daily function of what someone's doing, it's to have a better understanding as a board
Absolutely.
member to be.
And it will be explained
So
this
as long as
way.
that's, yeah,
If you want me to do that, it will be no different than what I do in the cities.
right.
You see, it just, now there is a liaison to give you the information you need, to lead you to do all these things you have in mind. That, okay, we did 2 underground project in this area, why don't we do more? What's stopping us from doing this or that? You will have more to look at it to get your idea up, like the finance and the stuff that we call it confidential. You have question, you always ask.
Mhm.
Now I don't see any question that's mean it's going smooth, because you get where we at now, and when the auditor come and sees that happen every month, they feel comfortable too, because the auditor looks at all this confidential information, they wanna know if you know it or not, as a board of trustee. By having it as an agenda item every month, do you know you do? You get it every month. We will add to it that operational side. We did it in the past because the setup was different.
Sure.
They're doing what they do, they're doing it to the best of their ability, and they were good at, they are still good at. It's just that delivery wasn't there. You want it, we're gonna make it. We're gonna get this operational side in a form where it's easy to understand, easy to look at, make your job easier to ask questions. That will probably be allowing Pat to talk about it, and if he has to go to his guys to get more information about it. So the circle will be completed.
And my thought on this is not an hour, you know, in a board meeting presentation. It's a 10-minute discussion every month, right? That Hazard you
Yes.
have, that talks about, you know,
Yes,
the last month activity or whatever the,
it will be incredible
priorities
with the
are.
report
yeah,
for you to read it when
Yeah.
you get it, and when you come here, if you have questions, we will answer it. Between Pat and I, we can answer it, and if we need help from the guys, because you know better than us too.
right.
And when you go on the field to look at the job, you know better than all of us. We do the management, but you are in it. Your visit to them will get you the idea. You don't have to really understand what they do because it's
Right.
hard. But
Right.
at least you know the idea.
Right.
You know what they do, and we get the management side of it to deliver it to you between Ben and I, and then you'll be able to respond to us with your question. Here, what I call it, it's moving. That's how much we can help, unless you tell me different. I always ask for your expectation, because that's something nice to know, you know, is, come and tell me, hey, Ash, don't wear this tie anymore. Good, I understand what your expectation is, but don't come and criticize me for wearing a tie that
Dan
you
said
don't like.
something, Dan said something a little bit ago. I'll-
That's what I'm saying. I'm giving a small example, which is your expectation helps me. Really, I know what you want, so I can work on it to get it to you. More than I come up with ideas and come and give it to you, you tell me I like it or I don't. So it's two ways to me.
Yeah.
Your expectation to me and my delivery to you.
Yeah,
But in a typical monthly board meeting, it's not a very conducive environment to have those conversations, to ask you to do something entirely new.
If it's
So-
confidential, yeah, we say confidential.
Right,
Because
so
we
I-
can talk in a public meeting about personnel,
Right,
all the reports that we say.
right,
confidential.
but to have conversations about some different structure, some different information that we need, sometimes we've got 15 agenda items or whatever it is, and we're going one by one, it's like, well, who wants to talk about that at that point in time,
Yeah.
you know? It's like, we might have a fleeting thought, and somebody asks you, hey, can we do this or that, but to me, the point of this meeting and future meetings like this is to talk about things like this, and maybe, well, do you want a couple of people that are representatives or something, or one person or something that would like be part of that conversation, to go to you and say, hey, let's have a deeper conversation on what type of information that could be provided to the board, each and every month that might add value.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, why not, you know, it's communications thing, you know, and we have good board members that communicate well, so I don't see any difficulties on this kind of communication. It's just a matter of knowing what you got, so the response from me, Pat, and the guys will be right on the money. You need to tell me what your expectation, what do you mean, what you have in mind, and then we respond to you based on that. That's what I call it, the big help to us, is to tell me what you need, more than I provide you, because I don't know how much is enough to provide you with. So these kind of meetings we have as a work session is awesome, because we talk about this. At least when we leave tonight, you know what I'm looking for, and you know what I can give you, is that kind of back and forth, you know. Like I said, from what I understood from last meeting to this meeting is the lack of the operational side wasn't delivered here, and I can see that because the SAT before wasn't like that, you know. Now we're trying to change, and I'm giving you the idea for the change that I'm gonna do. I'm gonna add to my reports, other reports coming from Pat and the guys to give you more information about what they do, and then allow you to ask questions if you wanna ask. And the reports coming to you is not gonna be taking the whole day to even read.
No,
It will
yeah.
be brief,
Half
easy.
page Excel table with each
Exactly.
person and put, you know,
Yes,
horizontally what the function would be and who did, you know, who
And
was
subject to
responsible for,
improvement,
yeah,
if you
exactly.
like it,
Yeah.
we do more and less, and until we get to the point that you're completely satisfied with what you're getting, you know, and we build on it. I won't be here to build on that, to be honest to you, but it's good for the next person when you get to the point that you're satisfied with that. So I'm giving you the next few months to read the reports, to see what changed, and then if you like it, it's good for the organization. Not just me, bad for the guys. We're setting a system to meet your expectation.
So what else from a customer perspective, and we've got multiple levels of customers as board members, we've got our employees as well as our utility customers. What do you guys think that you don't know today that you'd like to know? I'll give an example for me. I don't know what generally we receive for complaints on a regular basis from our customers. Like, is there some pattern of things that are like, yeah, we get this all the time, people don't like this about our utilities, you know? And we're not a big utility, so maybe we can't fix that sort of thing because, you know, we're just not that, you know, we can't be everything to everybody. But are there things that we get on a regular basis of complaints from, or questions, comments from our, hey, why can't we do this as an organization, or is there anything like that?
We usually have, whoever complain, we have a form to fill out. That's in general city and utility. We have a form to fill out. If that form being filled out and it's not resolved, we bring it to the council or to the utility board. The regular complaint that you're talking about is a standard one, that the one who's not paying his bill. That's a standard. And I don't know what to do about it.
Well, that's nothing that can be fixed, but as far as the service, is there a consistent complaint on service? Is that what you're asking about, or rates, or?
Yeah, I mean, for instance,
Nobody's
So-
gonna complain about water unless it doesn't work, you know, or power unless
so if
it's not there.
if my water, if I go on vacation or something and my water gets left on somewhere, some toilet's running or something, is there a system, a mechanism that we have in place that helps to communicate back to the customer that says, hey, you've got a lot of water being used at this point in time?
You get a phone call.
You get a
I've got
phone
it.
Yes.
call.
Right, so what
But
if,
you only get it when you read the meter, that's the only time, that's when they find out.
right, so is there something, and I'm being specific on this, but I wanted to open it up, this is just an example. Is there something better that other utilities do in this, for that type of thing? It's like, well, this is all online, you can look online, immediately see what's going on with your information. I could be in Cancun or wherever and look at my water usage and say, why is my water usage going up? And I'm not saying we have the technology to do that right now, but are there things like that that you would aspire to say, we can be better as a utility, technology is getting better all the time?
So, the meter reading process, Dustin, or whoever, meter reading process was improved, what, 8-10 years ago? This is way before my time, but something about manual versus
Years ago, we used to just walk around and read meters, and it really did, it took 5 of us almost a day and a half, 2 days to do it. And then after we would get done with that, we'd always have to go and do rereads because something didn't look right, so we'd go double check on the meter. Now the way we do it, we've got a system in place where we have a handheld unit in the pickup, and we can drive around, and it picks up the ERT from the water meters, and it picks up the
picks up
electric.
the what?
It's called an ERT.
Okay.
In the
Glad I
water
said
meters.
what?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
just a
No, I got
little,
it, yeah.
yeah, little electronic device,
Sure.
and electric meters, and there's no more misreading or writing something down wrong or something like that, because what that says is what it is. And we went from a day and a half to 2 days down to just a couple of hours,
Gotcha.
maybe 3 hours for
So-
a couple people.
So is there something else that, to get at his point where you get to a GPS? I'm throwing throwing this out there, I don't even know if this is a thing, but
Is there a premium service that you could provide, that, hey, for the people that really care about this, somebody might wanna put 10 more bucks on their utility bill for peace of mind, that things like this, and they'd have another piece of electronics to be able to read and push data somewhere so that they could read it.
Yeah, I mean, there is something, smart meters.
Yeah, or you could get an alarm if suddenly
Yeah.
usage has gone way up.
so what do you, what's,
And when I say a smart meter, that would be something that you could potentially look at when you're on vacation and see what your house is doing. Is it really cold when it should be warmer, or vice versa? Is, maybe what your water usage is, like you're talking about?
Right.
And the only reason we've shied away from the smart metering part of it is because of cost.
so that's one thing I would like to say that we don't talk about enough on this side of the house. Our utility department, our utility superintendent, our employees do not come to meetings asking for money every meeting. And I'm just bringing this up so it's completely clear. I think that we live within our means. I don't think that we try to throw money out the door and buy new equipment. I think that, we try to do things efficiently. So I'll just bring it up.
And
You guys should be appreciative of,
thank
or,
you for
you know,
bringing that
yeah.
up.
That stuff doesn't get brought up enough. Our finances are strong, and our folks aren't trying to, pull money out of each other's pockets, you know, to try to,
What's planning? I think they're doing a good job of planning.
I
Because
also-
they're not having to ask for equipment at the last minute, because something just totally died on them and it's 20 years old. We must be,
But that doesn't mean we
Getting
don't
played,
ban.
better
I
played.
think, I agree with you. The technology will never stop. You
Right.
know, it doesn't matter what you have, you will always have the technology and how it's running it,
Right.
you know? So that's a good idea to talk about technology all the time.
And again, you keep it on an agenda item on on these types of meetings, every time, let's talk about technology. If there's nothing to talk about that time, then we scratch it off and we don't talk about technology that time.
so why don't we find, I mean, if, that's what I'm trying to get at is we go through all of these items. We almost need to pick one item per workshop in my mind, because you can make so much,
Right.
you can discuss one of these things for an hour to 2 hours and still not get anywhere, and, you know.
Right, so each workshop, to try to set something for the next workshop, or
That's a good
at
idea.
one of the last meetings, whatever. The rules of it are all up to us and what we'd like to do.
how often do you think we should have these workshops? Like quarterly?
Yeah.
Semi-annually?
I was
Can
thinking
you
like
break into the,
quarterly, just, and we could put the workshop like,
at the end of a regular meeting?
or half an hour before, or
That's what I'm getting at.
or something
yeah.
like that. We wouldn't have to meet multiple times.
Right,
Right.
and
No,
do
that'd
it,
be great.
do it more frequently versus quarterly then too, maybe every other month, so things are fresh. But, I don't know.
And we can set time limits, you know, and nobody wants to be here for hours and hours and stuff. If you guys wanna be done at 6:30 or whatever, we can do whatever we want. I thought it was important to start putting some of this type of time for us to get together and
If
have
we're
these
gonna
kind
be
of
an effective board,
conversations.
yeah, if we're gonna be an effective board that leans forward versus leaning back, I totally agree with you.
Right.
You know, I mean, that's,
I think you're doing good. I know what's in your mind, Neil, and it's kinda good to be more on the proactive side.
Yeah.
That's kinda, I kinda like that, it's good. The good thing that I, want the board to know is that we're in a good shape, and it's really allowing us now to think about how we can get better. And I like that. When I came 31 years ago, the city was going for the utility. We were really small. Today, we're talking about how we can get better.
yeah.
And I kinda like that, you know.
So that's another question. It's like, I've always had a confidence in you that's like good shape, whether it was city or utilities. But I'd like to know more sometimes of like, what was Ash's philosophy on what gets us to good shape?
I would answer that here quickly. And Ryan shared that stuff with me. When was the last time I ran 5, 6, 10 years of utility rate? What was the outcome?
There was one increase on electric, in what, in the last 10 years? I can't remember, Sarah at the
Yes.
table. And that's because of a project improvement, that was not because of a, I mean, you've got a good business partner on the electric side.
And
You
that's
really do.
kinda where we're good shape, because if you don't increase the rate on water and electric for the last 10 years, you get Xenia rates, rate 9%, you increase it 3%.
You wait till these
Well,
nitrate plants
that's
come
what I mean by
around.
good shape.
Right, but how does that all play together with infrastructure that might need needs 2 years, 5 years, 10 years
Tell
from now?
me what kind of infrastructure you were looking for and you don't have.
Well, I guess I look at like,
Water
we're talking about this
treatment
water
plant.
treatment.
Well, that's,
If this is something that we think is in our future, that's where I hate to see us like, if we get a little bit of increase in our operating, I hate to see us eat that and
Right.
not pass it along, because the electric one, I think they pointed out, would have been, if they would have done a rate increase every single year from that year that they'd had the, what, was it 2017, I can't remember.
2019.
This would have averaged like, maybe like 1.5% increase per year, rather than.
Minimal,
having-
something reasonable.
Right,
But
because you
see-
know these projects are.
and we
gonna
did
come.
that on the water
Guys, hold
side.
on, hold on. Everything, I don't mean this bad, I'm gonna use your words, don't get mad at me. Everybody thinks that tacking on to the same people is reasonable, and it's not, it's theft. You steal from your neighbor for the same service, your rate goes up, the neighbor didn't get any more for their value. So why raise the rate on your neighbor? Grow the town, offer more, bring more customers here, and don't worry about this, raising rates. If you grow your town, have more customers, more people, then you'll have more revenue. You don't do that from sticking the same people. That's just my own.
Yeah, and we don't have
That's
to
the
really, and
so
I understand your philosophy because it's close to my philosophy.
Well, I mean, that's part of it.
But I'm gonna go back to answer Neil's question of, what do you mean by being in good shape? Good shape means financially, structurally stable, unless you tell me different. And that's kinda what I see, good shape.
The only thing I would say is the water line project, it appeared it was long overdue. Had some of those things been incrementally done over the prior 20 years, similar on the city side, we had 7 or 8 non-ADA compliant buildings. There wasn't a need to have a workshop. There was a list from the Department of Justice with a lawsuit.
Yeah.
Well, go fix this, go fix that. Well, show me where the money comes from, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
the dollar.
That's what you and I probably went to the state and told them that, it's like,
Yeah,
where am I gonna pay for that?
Yeah, so that's the only thing, and that's where if you get at a water line deal, is there some sort of robust planning that's a part of this that you do? I think they covered half of the water line replacements of that project.
Yeah.
Is that about right? That was I came in after that whole planning and, I thought there was about half of them that were replaced, so is there
Half
a
of
plan?
them, was there, or more than half?
Of the water lines.
What
Yes.
water lines, old water lines in town, like half
It
of
was
them?
we
more
got-
than half, wasn't
It
it?
was a lot, we got rid of just about all of the 4-inch, which
Okay.
was some of the oldest.
But some of those were like 60, 80 years old, right?
Pushing 100.
Okay.
Yeah, they were from the town.
What's that?
Town
So
was
that's all I'm getting at
started.
is there an incremental approach to that versus borrowing money?
And that's kinda what
Yeah.
I'm saying
So,
is.
I'm gonna say this from a customer perspective. If the customer's asking us, what are you doing to improve my service? What are you doing to keep the quality of the products? What are you doing to not have rate increases? Like, those are all the types of questions, and I'm sure there's probably 15 more, of things that we should have on our mind every time that we have a conversation. Like, the customer wants to know these things, and are we doing those things to the best of our abilities to not have rate increases? And if we do have to have rate increases, then are we doing it at the minimum level that we can? But are we also being responsible from our long-term perspective and infrastructure needs that we will be raising rates a little bit if we need to cover those things that might be failing in the future? But again, like you said, our goal is, well, broaden your customer base then, work on things that can broaden your customer base so yeah, you might have some increased expenses, but you've got more revenue now, and so you don't have to push those things onto the customers. Like, all those things we should be doing simultaneously and
I
always keeping
totally
at the
agree.
front of our
Yeah,
mind.
yeah.
I mean, I look at it as more as, you've got your operating costs, and when your operating costs come up, whether it's through expansion of more customers, whatever, that's fine. I guess I just look at it as, that if we don't have that increase coming in,
Right.
then we need to raise our rates and not eat down
Right.
any reserve that we have built into our rates, 'cause
But
a
that
lot
goes
of
to
towns like to work on like 105%, they're gonna take in 105% of what their actual costs are.
Right.
That way you take care of the increases that future plans? I mean, tell me that as soon as we do this electrical project, we gotta start thinking about the next big project, because it's gonna come.
Right.
I don't like to see the big increases when we have to do a big project, like we're gonna have to do an electrical over a short period of time. I would have rather had that 1% each year. You almost don't feel it. You know, like a
Right.
1% increase in my water rate, it's like my water bill would be like 50 cents a month.
Okay, I'm gonna give you an example. Henderson, Nebraska, they have a flat rate for their water. Everybody in town waters their yards because they only pay that flat rate. And I called them, I called the town about this to see how they could get by with that. She told me the only way that they were able to get by doing this was back in 74 or 75, they built a new water treatment plant, dug the wells, everything. They raised, when they did the loan, they raised the rates to a certain amount. Once that bill was paid, they never lowered them. They left it at that. And that's how they made their money. That everybody one rate and they could use as much water as they wanted.
So that's, and so to me, the nice thing about the way the water rates are set up, they're set up by tiers. So you can
Yes.
raise certain rates where they need to be. And, you know, again, it's like a hotel motel tax. If we've got interstate businesses that are consuming at a higher level or whatever, and we've got an LMI higher percentage in this community, I'm gonna side on that side because, you know, again, I mean, I don't know, that's just me. I'd rather look at the commercial side.
And you know, we've had this conversation before.
Yeah.
My philosophy on that is if you do that on the short term, it's not a big deal.
It's not
If
sustainable.
you do that over 20 years and you're always focusing on hitting, 5% so we can keep the others at 0, 1%, you just,
So I think if we think through how, I guess, this water treatment plant, the numbers that Forrest shared, this guy looked at everything, right? He was looking for Noah's Ark, I mean, for a water source, right? I mean, this guy followed every Tom, Dick, and Harry possibility.
Hey, can
And-
we put you on hold for a minute, take
Sure.
a break,
Yeah,
5-minute break?
yeah.
Okay.
I feel like if I'm the only one that gets up, the break is only for me.
I'll go, I'll get it. I'll run out to my car.
Jeopardy. Last time, Bill? Long meeting? Council meeting?
No, I got Louise mixed up. They're the 25th. I'm always ahead of my brain from where I'm at, which is a good way to be. Rather than,
Last night, was last night council?
so they will be having a special meeting on August 20th.
Oh.
Yes, I was thinking that it was
Got
gonna be
it.
this one because it's next
Excellent,
month.
okay.
So last night was the covers and see, that was great. Right,
what I told Lisa when we went out to mow the yard Sunday.
So how is Sturgis?
Got flooded.
Oh, with the whiskey, right?
Well,
The whiskey bottle exploded.
that, yeah, yeah, and then we got a pretty heavy thunderstorm rains last night, and it blew rain right in our tent, right in the door. We were swimming in the tent. It was that much water.
Because Dennis told me about the whiskey bottle exploding.
That smelled good, but. Good way to wash out your tent. It was sticky too, that good.
I bet. Okay. Go on, Brian.
I really don't.
Rates.
We're not gonna sell rates, but, I do think that this board, it's my own personal perspective, this board, the prior boards have all tried to cushion the hammer that Xenia has put on. You know, and Xenia, frankly, some of it's probably defendable, but some of it's not. You know, they get a cost structure, it's like your homeowner's insurance, you get a, you know, some issue from one part of the country and yours goes up anyway, that's kind of, but, you know.
So back to this idea of,
We're talking about the water treatment plant, that's what we're talking about.
oh, go ahead.
Yeah, so if you guys look at the level of work that Forrest has done with this report, he's literally turned over every rock. And this last thing is probably staring us straight in the face, but selling water out of here might pay for a water treatment plant. And that is a huge opportunity for us, maybe. I don't know if it's there for sure or not. You don't know if Xenia will buy anything from you, right? They may not, but if they don't sign into buying water from you for the same time of your bond, then there's no deal, right? If you don't get low interest money, there's no deal. If you don't get a grant, there's no deal. But it's at least worth looking at to get off of Xenia's handcuffs, you know, get out of it.
Well, even if you don't have Xenia, you don't have to build that big plant that's gonna meet your 20-year
Yeah.
needs. You build a smaller plant that you can add on to as you grow.
Yeah,
So either way, it's,
I met
it's
his
not.
chef today.
yeah.
Right.
And he's working on it.
This is not
We'll
something,
present it in September.
gotcha. This is not something to be taken lightly. It's $10 million, right? So I mean, but if they're able to get state money at 3%, sell water to, Xenia provides water to Diamond Head, to Dexter, not to Dexter, to Menlo, could provide to Dexter, and then straight back to the ethanol plant. So this, I mean, not to create our own water, whatever, but I mean, we might have stumbled on something that could be a boon for us. I don't know. But
Or have Redfield and Dexter buy from us.
yes, yeah.
Or it could be a new, basically, water utility involving 3 towns.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Rather than Stuart Utilities. it would
right,
be
have
a-
Dexter, Redfield, see if they go in.
I don't know if I'd wanna, I mean, I don't know if I'd wanna lose the autonomy of our own, cause they don't have that right now, right? They don't have their own
No,
utility.
they have the wells just like we do
Yeah.
out there, right?
So I'd rather,
Yeah.
to me, it's just,
Well, I'm just saying, you have to.
I get you.
When you
I
get down
understand.
the road, you have to look at what's
Yeah.
best for everybody. If
Yeah.
you're gonna serve those communities, it might make sense.
yeah, but, and maybe we just leave it to Xenia, we'll sell it to Xenia and they distribute
Right.
it from there, but.
Right.
Anyway, it was a neat opportunity, and I think that the amount of water is the question and the damage that you do if you overconsume. I mean, that'd be the only thing, is where your ebb and flow balance is on. But that was a neat thing that he put together. And so,
Presenting more information.
yeah, but I mean, cutting them loose to do the next step,
Yes.
they measured that as an under, $5,000-7,000 expense to gain the next step of knowledge, which is getting the whole Xenia testing the wells to see, their durability to draw that much water out and stuff like that. That to me is worth it. Not spending $10 million like that, obviously, but incrementally understanding what our options are. Because zinnias are, I mean, you know, well, there's the unpredictable thing, and frankly, their world's unpredictable. What's, you know, that water treatment changes they're gonna have to make with the nitrate issues we're gonna eat that. We're either gonna have to do something, or we're gonna eat that cost. That's just all there is to it, but
And
anyway.
that's one of the goals that we're trying to
Yeah.
accomplish, trying to get to.
Well, borrowing $10 million is not on my, you know, that's not on my wish list. But if you can borrow it and you make, just like Carl Chevrolet,
Yes,
you know, what a beautiful deal that is. All those jobs out there, and everybody thinks everybody's taxes, and no, we use his taxes to pay that bond that's on our balance sheet, which is guaranteed by a minimum assessment. The minimum assessment's the same thing as a water, purchase agreement from Xenia. So if we have a 20-year bond and a water purchase agreement, we know where our money's gonna come from, and where our payment's gonna, and it's not gonna come from our neighbors.
exactly. You're talking about the payback to any project.
Yeah,
We've done well on the city side
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah.
Whatever we do, we look at the payback and we do the calculation. And it did wobble,
Yeah.
as a logic, there. We can look at it from the same perspective on the utilities. That's, I know what you're talking about.
yeah, it's just concerning, because those water lines and the water tower, well, that was a $7 million investment. And so, I mean, there's just a little water to carry that kind of debt. So if you could indirectly, maybe you get Xenia to help, you know, I don't know if they would
There has to be
sign into that to
an,
save money,
an
you know what I mean?
angle to it.
Yeah.
Talking to Chef today for all this, have an hour about
Yeah,
it. There has to be an angle, but it's not as easy as it sounds, but there is something. He's doing his best
yeah,
to kind of get more information to be presented to the board. And I told him if anything we can do to help,
mhm,
because we gave him some data information that he needed today,
gotcha.
that to help him slow out that mission. Hopefully by September we'll get more.
But I'm just gonna go back to this ethanol plant. Remember, we were first on that council, we were dumber than posts on
Yes.
what to do, how to do anything. And we should have just marched out there and annexed that thing right there. That's what, what's it, not Eldora, I can't remember. But the developer was fine with it. All we were gonna do is maintain the road. You annex only the road and the plant. And that could have been a taxable valuation. We would have been providing the water on this side. I mean, we just weren't forward thinking. Whoever did Rose Acres was very forward thinking. And so that's all I'm trying to get out of this whole, you know, Xenia thing. Maybe that water line coming out was a good thing. 20 years ago, we went from the Redfield wells to Xenia and paid for a water line. We just paid that off the last 2 or 3 years. And so that pipe's there. So now let's send it, you know, the other direction. Possibly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, just going back to the idea of the reserves and our stability financially and things, you know, that reserve, what does the reserve do for us? Provides us flexibility, provides us, safety in case of emergency. We've got funds. It gives us, financial ability, because sometimes we need a certain amount of reserve levels in order to do financial things. I just don't have a great understanding of myself personally, of what's that proper level of reserves, especially when it comes into our rate discussions of, well, do we need to be bouncing this up a little bit, especially if we're talking about big projects and things going on, and, you know, as the business grows, you would think, well, your reserves should probably grow some because your business is larger.
But that's a module that I deal with, you know. Remember when you were in the council, I gave you the triangle that I can open it here to see. The triangle for the city is different than the utility. The triangle is service, rate, reserve. Your service needs to always stay the same level or higher. Service means the operation of the guys. That's the service you provide. So far, you're keeping it steady and high. Rate, you want it to always go down, not up. That's a philosophy of Brian, and it's my philosophy too. And it is, as it is. Because the last 5 to 10 years, we keep it steady, even when we get the supply giving us higher rate. And then reserve on a steady increase, because the triangle is what I use for the city, I use for the utility. That's how I do it steady. You wanted to take one of that triangle, you need to tell me which one, and we talk about it in a future meeting. You wanna increase your reserves, you can have that as an item to talk about. You wanna increase the rate, has to be an item to be talked about it. You wanna decrease the service, big item needs to be talked about. So that's a triangle, okay? Service, rate, reserve, on the utility side.
So,
The reason, yes, the reason I'm saying in good shape because I keep that triangle the same thing like the city steady, without a change. The percentage, I can't give you a certain percentage, but I can give you stabilization in the triangle.
so, we all hear, we only hear we very rarely hear good things from the public, right, as board members. People always come up to the board when there's a problem. Very rarely, hey, I'm glad that my lights turn on, I'm glad my water, everybody has that expectation. So that's why I brought up, from Pat's perspective, you know, they're not at us every month for budgetary things. Ash has already hinted at, he's not gonna be here forever. I'd like to know as part of this knowledge, you know, who else is sitting on our type of reserves that he's built over the decades that goes undiscussed, you know, year in, year out.
Right.
And
We
that's a
should be
good
able to
idea.
tell the positive story.
Correct. When the negative comes out, you say, here's a positive. Just like this health insurance thing I asked to have on here. That's one component of a triangle, and it's one component of a business, right? So, yeah, we need to make sure that that's in line or close, but it's still just one part of things.
Yeah, those triangles, I wouldn't,
And you heard Ben say here last month and say, you know, that's an attractive thing and we appreciated that. So it is important.
so my recommendation always is to put that triangle always in your mind, that reserve, trade, service. And you go with each work session concentrating on that time, what you wanna do. Because one of them, if it goes down, the other one will go down.
Something else,
So you have to keep it together. I simplify as much as I can, but it's a hard work that I spent 61 years. To go back to what you say, who's the next person, that's where you need to be very careful and give them that triangle
well, it's
to
not,
maintain.
that's what I'm getting at is if you look at the chaos of, or just looking at the towns around us and what towns around us have gone through, are they even comparative to where we're sitting? We can always do better, right? We can always look to do better. That's what we're sitting here trying to, but we're also doing very well in a lot of areas. That's all I'm trying to get at. And we always spend time talking about things that we need to improve, while there's also that steady eddy that, you know, I think maybe it's age, but I think just come to appreciate it too, you know?
And I think
And I think
Neil
there's always change that you can always consider.
has great ideas. I think I know Neil for how many years now, 15 years.
Yeah.
He's even on his personal thing when he used to coach and this stuff. I used to talk to him all the time about side business and talk about coaching and stuff. He's always good at planning
Yeah.
and seeing what's bad and what's
Absolutely.
good. And that's good. That's really good. And we need to appreciate that he's always looking for how to get better, how to advance yourself and all this stuff. And I appreciate that.
I think that's awesome
It
because
is.
us as a board sitting here, we're getting better and just understanding things. We have, all of us have the intent, because we're all here, to
Yeah.
try to, you know, make the board effective. So,
Yes, and I think if we keep on having this work session on this stuff, I want you to take it based on that plan and discuss services for a month or two or three, discuss rates for a month or two or three, discuss the reserves, and what you want with it, how you want it. All these things, I think, will make you have a full agenda to talk about. And goals, because you build your goals on that. Services is operation, what you have in
Right.
operation, what do you wanna do with it? You know, are you doing okay, are you wanna improve it? Rates is the thing that the public always talk to you about it, because of course, you want the rate to be low.
right.
So you have to give justification why the rate is what it is. And of course, the reserve is where it's your policy, how you wanna maintain it. So that's kinda my take, trying to help you out with that work session, because that's the three items that you need to have on the agenda.
So do we pick a neighboring community that's like thriving? Winterset's a lot larger than us, but they just built their own water treatment plant for us, said that if you, and I'm picking water treatment plants because of Wintersets. But, I don't know, where are you wanting to go with the rest of this, because you could pick any one of these items and sit here and talk about for 2 hours, right?
No, I know, and I wanna be cognizant of people's time, but
Yep.
on every board or whatever, I've always wanted to look outside the organization at other organizations, because some people are doing things completely different, or others might not be doing things so well. You wanna be able to gauge how you're doing, and it's hard when all your eyes are just looking internally, so, when I was on the school board, I loved going to the ISB convention every year, and seeing all the different school boards that come together and they talk about different subjects and all sorts of stuff. That'd be awesome if there was something like that. Maybe there is from a utility perspective, but it just opens your mind and brain to, like, it's, okay, we're not all in this alone, because everybody else is dealing with the same sorts of things, but there's other cool ideas that are out there. There's struggles that people have gotten past, and we don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. If we have something, we might be able to go find somebody else and ask for advice on that type of stuff.
And all I'm saying is, if you go back to your initial discussion, or your initial question, an additional service that we could offer was better, better, you could tell where I'm the most
Right.
technologically ridiculously dumb person you can find, but if you wanna know how many gallons of water you use, your power bill, and you're gone, or you wanna see it on your phone, is that a service? Can you charge for it?
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, do we have some sort of premium services that we can, another revenue source? A trial run of getting some of these things in place, and then as people, like it and want it, maybe eventually it does become more of a standard and you get used to it, that type of thing. I don't know, things to look into from a technological standpoint, but.
And I wanna add to that is, there's a lot of workshops. I'm glad you brought these up, because we can send you these things to attend. There is annual meetings that Sarah and I go to, it's something that can be good for you. That goes to annual meetings too, I forgot the name of it. IAMU, all these things we go to because of the years that we have. But we'll be glad to share this with all the board members. If you're willing to go to that stuff, that would be awesome.
We talked about, what was it, a gas utility, gas franchise or something, a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, offering that or buying that or whatever. And we looked at that. What was another thing we talked about? Cell phones or internet? I can't remember. But we went through some of these things iteratively, and there's not a lot of options. It's hard to change your territory and just territory tariffs, right? Is that what it's called? Or footprint? It's hard to change our offerings because someone else is already doing it. So.
Well, I remember 20-some years ago when I lived in Granny Center, or Granny Center, they put the fiber all over town, and so TV and internet
Yeah.
as a city utility.
Coon Valley's a slick operation.
Yeah.
They're doing really well. They're very well run. Their costs are they're good with things of the partner. But I think it was the gas utility that we just had a couple of discussions on, and just doing anything like that was. It's not like this. On the city side, going to expand your boundaries. You got a 2-mile radius. You can just go push a button and go vote, and you're done. It doesn't work that way. It's very litigious and.
I think if we, like we discussed earlier, we take one item at a time
Yeah.
in a work session, we'll be more focused.
Yeah, I agree. Good. That's a good
Yeah.
idea. So what is that?
Well, we've got a couple items. Dan wanted to we had an agenda item from the last, talk about employee stuff and, so I don't know if you wanna talk
Employee
about that now, or?
Well, I guess that was something I'm working on, getting some information, and
Okay.
I'm gonna be gone, so I hope to get more,
Yeah.
and Sarah sent me something, and I hadn't had a chance to read over that yet. Was there an
That's a
actual,
city policy for evaluation.
was there an actual form that you said you guys
We
used?
have the forms.
But it wasn't in that email, okay.
We can send you forms.
That would
Yeah,
be something.
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
Yeah, and go from there. Like I said, this is something that we may not have it all set the way we want it when the next time comes, but if we start now, it's, eventually we'll have a process in place, which I think it's good for both the two of you and us both,
Sure,
because it's a
absolutely.
protection
I love it,
on your end.
to be honest with
Yes.
you. I like,
Yeah.
I like visiting with one on October.
Mhm.
It was very comfortable, you know, it was good
Yep.
and very productive. You know, that Brian and me, when they sit with me and tell me what I'm doing good or bad and what's the expectation, it was awesome. We do that because they've been on the council for a long time,
Right.
talking about the board members.
Yep.
It was nice to say, I am a big believer of the expectation, because that's really what gives you the engine, you know, to kind of know how to run a good engine. you
Right.
know. So, yeah, we'll give you that stuff you
Okay.
need tomorrow.
Yep.
We gotta have so many.
Well, anytime, I'm gone till September, so.
Okay, we'll
You got
wait.
plenty of time.
We'll email it to make sure it's
We're
there,
done.
but you don't have to look at it,
Yeah.
okay?
So
What else?
I just asked for a couple of these to be carried over because they were asked to be carried over.
Yeah,
We had talked about employee wages, salary caps, that's the insurance thing. I don't see what what I'm wanting is the dollar value of cost per employee. So I put a little table at the bottom of this. Earl, Dell, Greenfield, Atlantic, Corning, Kenora, Guthrie Center, our towns. How much do they pay per employee on health insurance?
oh, how much, see, okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
so,
maybe
and do
we'll
they
have it.
cover individually,
I see.
joint, or
I see.
family? Yeah.
Yeah, we got it the other way around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so anyway, and then
Um,
again, putting that together is one part of the overall thing. When Chip comes next month, if he brings that budget model, you'll see how, on the water bill anyway, how that works. And so, even if this is a little bit higher or lower, I don't know, it's just, are we even in the range? So we spend $20,000 per employee on health insurance. So what is Earlham, what is, Adele, and does it cover
Gotcha.
individual, family, or joint? So that's
Gotcha.
all I was trying to get over.
Yeah, we'll get you that.
Well, I guess another thing with that, and I don't know, is there any, if like people that retire early, do they get any continued health coverage? Cause that could drive that cost. And I don't know if we do that as a city here and as another city, like Jim's
City
retiring,
doesn't
he's
have
not
any-
65.
We, on the utility side, established a policy, what we call it, that's it, retirement, saying, if you've been here for 30 years or more, we will give you like 3 years until you reach the
Like
Medicare.
okay, like
We'll
60,
send you this
Okay.
policy.
yeah.
We
'Cause that-
have it, but nobody really qualified for it. Maybe I'm the only one, and I passed it because I'm 65. It's supposed to be, you haven't reached the Medicare yet.
Right,
I reached the Medicare, I'm on Medicare now.
right.
So,
Yeah, Doug and Gary both.
Doug and Gary qualified for it, and they got like 2 to 3 years
Okay.
of the city utility helping.
Till you get to the.
Until the
Social
time
Security.
now, because I have the seniority,
Mhm.
and I passed this policy, so it won't apply to me anymore. I think, who has the second seniority? I was Jim. And Jim on the city side.
Well, on the city
Dustin
side,
on the utility side.
on the utility side, it's gotta be Dustin.
Dustin, how many years you have?
Since December of '08.
Oh, yeah,
Yep.
okay, so
Almost
that's,
20.
he has to have like
17.
30 years of service. And 20 years, 30 years, you get
Yep.
75%. 20 years, do you remember Dustin?
I think it's 15 years.
Who made it, I don't know
Yeah.
what the adjustment.
You'll know.
But like
Yeah.
right now, we don't have any like retirees that we would be paying any insurance on currently.
No.
Okay.
That'd
It
be
would have
fine.
been me.
That's great, bring up, cause like, when was that policy put in place?
It was like 2017, it's a long time ago.
Okay, I was thinking you were gonna say like 25 years ago.
It's 17 nowadays.
So if we look at
18 years ago, yeah.
Right, so that, it's just an example of something that probably wouldn't come up in a regular meeting, but if we had like an agenda item to talk, well, you know, employee benefits and incentivizing longevity and that type of thing. We could have a discussion, say, hey, do we want this as an agenda item to put on to make a decision about this or sort of thing, or do we leave it alone for another year? Like, we should be constantly having small conversations each year about all parts of the operation of the business to decide if it should be elevated to something that we need to make decisions on, or it's good to go, we'll leave it for another year. You know, whether we're talking about insurance or employee benefits or whatever the case may be. But the continual, you know, doing our due diligence on every piece of the operation. So we know what's going on, we know, I mean, I didn't even know that policy was there.
So we keep going back to these other ways of people possibly doing things. So Pat, if you had to pick a utility around here that you just think is the apple of all utilities, that's maybe one a little bit bigger than us, is it Winterside or is it?
Winterset, yeah, they got a good system set up down there. They do a good job. They have a lot of retention with their employees and things of that nature, but I guess I always hate to copy somebody because there's always problems too. I mean, they don't do everything.
No, I'm with you. I'm not saying you copy how they do stuff. I'm saying this idea of just random technology changes that maybe they're doing, we're not. Can you pick a couple of ideas? If you ask their whoever, their superintendent or their city administrator, they come here and they give you an overview of how they do things, and they look at how we do things and say, hey, here's a couple of things that we're doing you guys aren't, that might help. That's
Yeah, sometimes it's just a matter of you don't know what you don't know,
right.
and it's like, oh, okay, we should explore that, maybe not copy, but hey, why aren't we even thinking in the realm of what that is? So, you know, it's on our agenda, it's on our mind for a possible discussion.
So this whole Womble thing sourced back from Harlan and Menlo, Iowa. If you remember, Harlan was doing, the city was developing lots and got through centerless as well, only they were selling the lots. Menlo was giving them away. So we blended the financials with TIF to be able to do that. But the point is, it was just a copy of somebody else's idea to help, you know, make things grow. And so it's the same thing here. Are there other ways of doing things for efficiency or growth or something without raising rates on our neighbor? I had to get that. Anyway, I don't know, is that the next step? You go have a city administrator and a superintendent, or do you have them go there and say, or maybe it's not Winterset, wherever the heck you wanna, I'm asking.
Next agenda item or next meeting. Or next
Well,
workshop.
but why does it have to be a next agenda item? Why wouldn't we ask, I mean, what do you guys think? I mean,
I don't know really, I'm kinda like that. Each town does it different, you know. I just hoping that we can look at what we got and take item by item and see what kind of improvement we wanna do to it. You know, we can start with services, or start with the rate, or start with the reserves. We take the easiest, reserve. Come and look at your reserve and tell me what your idea is. What are your expectations? What do you need? You wanna get it higher? You wanna use some of it to reduce it? I can see you shaking your head no, which is good. Let's take it one step at a time before we go to it.
well, all I was getting at is, I keep going back to his idea of
Yes.
the customer having better access to their usage, whatever it is. Maybe that's not the thing you come out with. But if you were to go, you, Sarah, and Pat were to go shadow Atlantic, shadow Winterset, and you say, okay, well, this is what I do for this process, what does this person do here? Are there things that you would pull out of there that would be helpful? That's all I was trying to get at.
That's easy to do. I'm not seeing.
Or if they should come here and do it over there. I don't know.
Either way, actually, it's kinda what we do when we go to these meetings.
Mhm.
We meet the other clerks and administrators.
Sure.
and we share this kind of discussion. That's why I want you to come to these meetings, just to see live.
And all I'm trying to get at is what does the next workshop, and where do we go from this discussion? Versus, you know what I mean? I'm just trying to get to a,
Yeah, we can have comparative
Next step.
analysis, we can have any of the things that we talked about, like, I'm just happy that we got to a point, we spent a good hour and a half, and we covered a lot of stuff, and I think we're getting to a comfort level of, that these things are important, and
Yes, yeah.
we could be a better board if we focus on some of these things, so.
Yes,
that's-
absolutely, and I like what you just had in the last hour and a half.
So,
It's really,
we can let this soak in a little bit,
sure,
and we can come back at our next meeting and provide some direction on it.
Okay,
that's
that's
awesome.
fine.
Let's leave it
That
this
works for
way
me.
because it's very productive. I wasn't expecting that when I came here, but it really developed to the point that it really got all of us together. I feel like
Well, and I
we're all
think,
one team here.
I think it helps us defend our organization, our folks better too, by the
Absolutely,
more
and I
knowledge
hope
we
that
gain.
people seeing us or hearing us, see how hard work that we're both trying to do to accomplish good for the betterment of the town.
And what I'm getting at with this, and I'll give this to you, but what I'm getting at with this is to end up putting it into the paper, because I don't think we're off.
No, yes.
So I think.
And I got you,
But
we'll
the
get
public
it the
brings
other
us
way
up.
around.
No, I mean, the public brings this up a lot,
Yes,
as they
yes.
should, because we're supposed to be accountable, so if that is so large, and it does seem like it's a very high number. So if you can hand that information, and we did a survey, we're out the door.
We'll get that
You can't argue with
information.
numbers, ever.
We'll get it to you, we'll
Yeah.
get it to you.
Just last note, when I went to the Iowa Association of School Boards, one time, obviously I went multiple times, but I was so inspired when I saw there were multiple boards, that the entire board, the superintendent, the multiple administrators, all came to this, and I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but it's a multiple days of like workshops and educational experiences, and they have speakers come in from nationally, and they do all this stuff. And it was, I mean, that type of stuff, these boards were super efficient, they all were in tune with each other on what their purpose was, what they were trying to accomplish, and it was, when you have a board that can be like that, and I don't know if we can get to that point, and if we even wanna put that much effort into it, I'm just saying, start moving in that direction, and it can only
It's not
provide
gonna hurt.
good
Just, you know,
things.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we have a board that is going that direction.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
Yes. Okay. We will,